Facebook crashed on me a second ago. I'm not accustomed to that. So let's see if it's working now. Oh, it is. So I was supposed to be in Houston today for an event with the Women's Council in conjunction with Council for Residential Specialists. And it was sold out, and we were going to have a big time. But, of course, people in Houston kind of have some other stuff they're focused on right now. But because I was supposed to be teaching anyway, I thought maybe I would just have some office time with y'all, my Facebook friends. So you can ask anything you want. And I'm going to try and monitor this because I'm not accustomed to like monitoring the comments. I try to speak up sometimes, but ask me anything you want about real estate or life. I don't know, whatever you want to know. I'll answer your questions. And then as you are getting information that might help you out, or if you've ever just wanted to do something, you can click on that little Donate Now button and we will make sure that your money's going to the Realtor Relief Foundation. If you didn't know, the Realtor Relief Foundation gives 100% of your money to the people who apply to it. There is none of your money going to overhead, and there's no other organization we can say that about. But as realtors, we pay dues to belong to our association. Part of your dues dollars pay for the overhead for the foundation so that anything received goes directly to realtors in need. So y'all haven't asked me any questions yet except for George saying yay, and that doesn't count as a question. So I guess since I have y'all live on there. Oh, and by the way, thank you to Bob Sorey in Tennessee, because Bob told me how to have things show up the right way without it being all backwards, because I'm in, what's it called, the format. And actually, when you are on Facebook Live, now that I know this, if you mash the little button that looks like a magic wand, you can flip the orientation around and... Hey, Todd. So, actually, you can then read things. But I'm also going to write on my little board here something y'all need to do right this second if you haven't. And if you have already done it, would you please tag a friend? You need to go on your cell phone and put in 30644. And I want you to put in the word Realtors. And then you're going to be able to do our call for action on flood insurance. And by the way, I want to answer a question that I received about flood insurance and why realtors are supporting it. And this person is one of the people I love all to pieces. She's a fabulous person and realtor, and she said she didn't want to support flood insurance because it helps $1 million homes on the water. Well, here's the thing. Sometimes the $1 million homes on the water do get flood insurance. That happens. But the bigger reason we support flood insurance is because of people like you who may be in a house they've lived in for a long, long time, and then FEMA magically redraws the lines. And if y'all didn't know it, FEMA redraws their flood lines based on what we call the PFA method, pull from air. And that doesn't necessarily mean the properties have ever flooded, but now your mama's house is in the flood zone and she's lived there for 50 years, and then she needs to be able to sell it. Well, maybe she can't afford the flood insurance because she's on fixed income and she doesn't buy it because she's not worried about it. But she needs to sell it, and some enterprising young couple wants to come in and buy her house because it's got that mid-century charm, and they don't want to buy it because they're freaked out by the flood zone. That's why we have flood insurance, y'all. I mean, we really have to support that. It expires on September 30th, and we need our legislators to do it. So, again, 30644 to Realtors. I had a question. How's my son? Thank you very much for asking. I love how y'all aren't asking any real estate-related stuff yet. He's doing much better. He is not all the way healed up yet, but we have now had 2 hospital stays, and we're praying to not have a 3rd one so that he can continue life as a 6th grader who's just started middle school and is halfway miserable about that, because some of y'all might have hated middle school too. Brian wants to know, and by the way, y'all, Brian 𝙏𝙀𝘼𝘾 is the first major investor in his entire association in Ohio, so whoop whoop for Brian. So he's asking, when is Congress going to vote on reauthorization? We don't know. So we are really working hard with our realtor champions to make sure that this actually gets heard and through as soon as they are in session. And we just don't have much time because it expires on September 30th. Let's see. Tim is just making comments. Let's see. Y'all need to ask me a question. I know, George, flood insurance is important out there in Staten Island and in Long Island, no matter which board you're talking about today. And there's Amber. Hey, Amber, she's doing some marketing for realtors. So let's see. Y'all got to ask me a question if you want me to teach you something. Let's see. If you wanted to know what I was doing today, before I got on this, I was working on a proposal for one of my potential sellers. And I've told y'all before, the only way you will ever make it in real estate, is by getting organized. And most of y'all suck at organization, which is why you suck at real estate and you don't make any money and you wonder why you don't keep any money. You got to straighten that out, people. And so all of my seller forms are bright yellow, so I can find it on my desk. And I'm an organized person, but I still lose things. And so on my seller intake sheet, we ask all the same questions over and over, and there's room over here in the margins to put down some extra notes. And these are some folks that are trying to decide if they should sell their property to a developer or if they should sell it to a regular homeowner. So there's two different sets of numbers. And that's also why, people, you don't really want to rely on a website to give you a property price for what you're dealing with, because if you've got a situation where there's multiple potential for your property, you kind of want a local realtor expert who can give you some guidance on that. And these are people that oh, Kyle donated, yay! Kyle's my new favorite person. So anyway, I was working on their numbers and I called to talk to them. And frankly, I was a few days behind on following up with them because of my son getting hospitalized again. But when you deal with wonderful people, they ask about you first and then business second. So I, of course, apologize for taking forever to get back to them, because for me it's forever when it's a couple of days delayed. But when you deal with great people, they'll cut you a little bit of grace. And if you're dealing with clients that don't give you any grace, fire them because they're not worth your time. Now, the other paper I have, by the way, if y'all want this intake sheet that I provide, hey James, hope Michigan's good this morning. I've got these available on my website. They're free. Take it. It's a DOC. There's Eric, Tennessee, representing. Y'all are close to getting your goal for Brian Copeland on your... Crystal donated. Yay! There goes some money for Realtor Relief. We're going to do something for our Texas and Louisiana realtors. Y'all, Louisiana's getting hit now, too. So we've got to take care. And there goes Eric. Yay! Anyway, Brian Copeland has this challenge with the large state associations about who's going to do better on the call for action. My North Carolina people, y'all got to step it up. But... I don't know who y'all can get after, but tag somebody in this. So anyway, I've also got my buyer sheets, but they're not in my office right now because, frankly, I don't work a whole lot of buyers. I actually have team members that do that. They're partners. Hey, Brian donated too. Yay! And Barbara, look, across the country. Now, we have now gone coast to coast because that was California, Ohio, and Florida, and Tennessee. So good job. Kyle, I don't know where you're at. Mike, do I get to count what? My previous books? Oh, yes, we're over $7,000. I've got to get the envelopes. Actually, I forgot to order more envelopes for my girls to get them mailed out. So, just so you know, if you did order a book from me, we're trying to get them all packaged up and sent out. And they're going to go media mail, frankly, because since I'm paying the shipping, I'm a little cheaper than usual. Hey, Aurora donated. Yay! And what we're going to do is get those sent out to you. Tim, I love you. Anyway, the books are going to go out, and then I'll be able to release a final total. But we're over $7,000 right now. And if, by the way, if the website made you pay for shipping, you got a refund because we couldn't figure out how to take the shipping off because I'm good at some things, but not other things like with technology. So anyway, the buyer lead sheets we print in blue, and I was going to show y'all one, but I can't find them because they're not in my office. But what we do is make sure we're asking the same questions of everybody every time. And that's what changes your real estate business forever, is getting consistent. It also makes you a way better proponent of federal fair housing when you are asking the same questions of everybody who calls in. So when somebody calls and needs to sell a property or they need to purchase a property, the first thing our team asks, thank you, Sarah, is, may we ask you a few questions? And we should always be asking permission. That's one of the things I learned by reading Seth Godin's books. And if you're into any marketing books, always read Seth Godin. He's the one that talked the most about permission-based marketing. If you're the realtor who answers the phone and you just dive into personal questions right away without asking permission first, that's why people don't like you, because you're kind of aggressive and disgusting. And by the way, if I ask somebody if I have their permission to ask questions and they say no, well, then I'm going to hang up the phone and send them on their merry little way. Now, another thing that I was working on this morning is a book called Business Model Generation that was sent to me by Jason O'Neill in Indianapolis. He's the president of the Indianapolis board. Thank you for serving, Jason. And Jason and I are big nerds, which is why we're good friends. And he sent me this book so I could rethink how my business is shaped, which is one thing I'm working on big time, is how I can was working for sound. Lord, I had the headphones plugged in. So when I'm trying to reshape my business personally, which we always should be reshaping things because real estate moves and business moves. Thank you, Jennifer. Yay, you people are awesome. And by the way, if everybody watching this right now, if all 80 of y'all gave like just $10, we would jack our numbers real quick. And remember, 100% of the money you're donating right here goes into Realtor Relief Fund, which is going back into our local communities. And they're already accepting applications, by the way, for people that are in trouble. So go to nar.realtor and you can make an application if you are in an affected flood area. Which reminds me, y'all, I had a text this morning from Kathy Fowler, my good friend in Oklahoma, and she's fixing to be the Oklahoma president or Association of Realtors president. And Kathy saw on Facebook, let me call this out, that Wendy Foreman, who is an EXP realtor somewhere, and I don't really know where Wendy's located. Rick, I'm going to answer your question in 1 second after I remember this thing. And Wendy's doing something cool. She put on Facebook that if she gets any referrals from realtors in affected areas of Texas and Louisiana, thank you, Fiona, she's going to only keep 20% to cover her overhead, and she's going to give 80% back to them so that they can have some income coming in while they're not able to really do real estate. So I think that's a fantastic thing. My team is going to step up to that challenge. So if you're a realtor in South Texas or in Louisiana and you send us a referral, we're going to send you 80% back instead of the usual 25% so that you will have a little more income coming in. And I'd love to see this become a movement. That was Kathy Fowler's exact words. She said, let's see, I'm going to quote her for real, this needs to be a movement. So if you're willing to join that movement of giving more than usual referral fees back, that will do amazing things for our realtor family in areas where they either don't have properties they can sell right now or can't get out of their house to sell, or now they're doing what a lot of people are doing and yanking up rugs and under padding and subfloor and drywall trying to save these houses because that wet stuff's got to come out right quick. So anyway, what I was talking about a second ago was related to that, but let me jump over here because there was a question from Rick. He says, hey Rick, I'm working with a new buyer's agent right now. Okay, so first of all, if you're watching this and you're not familiar with buyer's agents, these are people that work exclusively with buyers. Now on my team, I have buyer partners because with my travel schedule, I actually have a harder time working with buyers than I do with seller clients because technology is great for that. And he says, her outgoing voicemail says, my normal business hours are 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. In an attempt to respect family time, I'm considering doing this myself. What are your thoughts? Now, Rick, I'm a big fan of protecting your family time. However, in real estate, I don't think we really have the luxury of working 8 to 5:30, okay? So you can do certain pieces of your business from 8 to 5:30, and frankly, that's why I kind of enjoy the foreclosure business and you're doing REO paperwork, because they do work 8 to 5:30, and so do your lenders and your attorneys. I get that. But right now, especially in a market with low inventory, you just don't have that luxury. So my recommendation is that you pick a different set of hours. You don't have to work 24/7, so I'm going to couch that first. You don't need to work 24/7, but if you're a night owl, then maybe you put on your voicemail that you work from 10 a.m. till 8 p.m., all right? So you can cover that evening hour section. Maybe if you are an early bird like me, I get up at 4, you could be available from 6:30 a.m. until 6:30 p.m., but you're going to have to find a way to be slightly available outside of normal hours because you might miss a property for your buyer right now. The other way that you could, hey Leah, you can just put that in your note here, and maybe we'll gather up the names out of the comments for who's willing to do the higher referral split, and I'll give some props to Wendy Foreman for coming up with that idea. But anyway, the voicemail that I recommend goes like this. It's, thank you for calling Leigh Brown at RE/MAX Executive. First of all, by the way, would y'all please put your first and last names and your company in your voicemails? It drives me completely batshit crazy when y'all have voicemail that just says, hello, or this is Rick, or something like that. You need to be a professional in your voicemail. It's so crazy. Thank you, Richard. So the voicemail could say, I'm Leigh Brown with RE/MAX. I'm available for your real estate needs between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And if you've called outside of these hours, I'll call you back the next business day. So it's reasonable to shut off your business at a certain time. Okay, I get that. And if you're going to feed your family supper, you've got to cut it off at a certain time. But hey Ziggy, California is showing up early in the morning. You want to make sure that you're thinking about how you can serve what the client needs, but also preserving your family life. That's why realtors who say they work 24/7, that's dangerous. That means you're telling your clients that they're the only thing that matters, which means they think the money is the only thing that matters. So get some control over your life. And if you want to go to worship on Sunday morning, amen and hallelujah to that. Have somebody available to cover your phones in the event of trouble, or just tell other agents you're going to present offers in the afternoon and they're not going to miss out between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. That's okay. Don't set issues for people. One thing I will tell you that we've learned that helps out a lot, Rick, and by the way, do share this video with that buyer agent so that she can consider better how to position her voicemail. But when you're thinking about how you serve your clients best, when we put a property on the market now, we talk to our sellers about what's happening with multiple offers, because in the Charlotte market, if it's under $250 and it's halfway decently conditioned, because it's both, they go together, price and condition always go together. And those of y'all that think there's no inventory in your market, you're lying. Look at the MLS. There's probably some dogs in there, but price has to match condition. So anyway, if it's a decently conditioned property under $250, it's very likely to be in multiple offers. And so we are telling our sellers it's a wise practice to give it 48 hours. Thank you, Mandy. And what that gives is an opportunity for agents and buyers to get in the house and make their offers, because not everybody can pull the trigger the first time they walk in the house. And we as realtors do a disservice to our sellers when we tell them that they should immediately take the first offer, because if you're working with a buyer that's perhaps an engineer or an accountant mindset, those C personalities, they need to have all their ducks in a row before they can pull the trigger on an offer. And so if we tell them they have to do it right away, they're generally not equipped to make a decision on the spot like a person like me is. I'm a D personality. I know what I want and I'm just going to do it. So we're asking our sellers to allow a 48-hour period when they enter the market where we can give the time for the agents to show it and bring us offers, and we put the deadline in the multiple list. What we're always trying to figure out is better ways to handle it, because some agents text and some call and some email, and when you're getting 30 offers on a property, it can be really challenging to manage that from a timing standpoint to where people really feel like they got a chance to get into the property. Now, the asterisk I'll put on that is, as an agent, you can't drag your feet. You do not have the luxury of telling your clients, well, there's 48 hours to put in an offer, so let's wait until hour 47. Thank you, Rick. And when you wait that long, you might miss the property because it takes time to get things to us, and then the email's got to come through, and you need to call and tell us, by the way, that you sent an email. If you're a buyer agent sending offers and you are not telling the agent you're sending it, you suck. Now, let's see. Yeah, Mike says that the listings that come on at 8 a.m. and say the seller will decide it too. I can't tell y'all I feel good about that. I think that what happens is that we hurt our sellers by not giving a chance for all the offers to come in. Now, it's the seller's decision. We've had some sellers that say they don't want to wait 48 hours. They got an offer that they like, they want to sign it. It's their decision. Our job is to give them both angles so that they can then fully decide what makes sense. Corey, if you missed the beginning, don't worry, because it's all recorded. And you're sending me a referral. You're my extra favorite person right now. We'll send you a present, because I do send presents out. But you know what kind of drives me crazy about that right now is we send a referral present. Thank you, Leah. And it's my daddy made these back scratchers. They're beautiful handmade wooden back scratchers. And my daddy's a retired realtor, although he still pays his dues because I want him to have that cool emeritus pen. And when we send out these cool back scratchers, we don't get people coming back to us saying that they even got it or saying thank you. And that drives me crazy. Y'all need to have a little better manners in your life in general. And I'm looking for comments, but they keep hiding, and I don't know what I did. So anyway, ask me some more questions, y'all. Hey, Heidi, that's one of my favorite Charlotte realtors there. I'll tell you, too, realtors like to talk all the time, smack about the realtors in their markets and how they might be the only decent realtor. And I say, if you think you're the only good realtor in your market, you need to get out more, because Heidi's not even in my company, although she should be. And I love her, and I'm glad to do cross sales with her and with her partner, Gordon. And we need to do a better job as realtors speaking better about the people in our own markets, because frankly, none of y'all have a corner on making things right. And that's 15 people who've donated, including Maggie. Thank you. Let's keep going, people. Oh, my screenshot showed me scratching my head. Oh, well. Somebody asked me a question. Let's see. I guess I'll just have to make something up to talk about since y'all are sitting there. I love to do mail. And this is something that those of y'all that have phone reluctance, bye Mike, and you don't pick up the phone and call anybody because you're afraid to pick it up. And I really don't know why. Well, what you need to do, see, there's another wonderful agent in my market, Andrea, and I love her. She's getting her CRS because I fussed at her and told her to do it. So if you hate picking up the phone, why don't you send out some note cards to people? And they don't have to be those really ugly, boring ones. I like to send fun cards, like I'll be sending this one to somebody. It says, I'll never be as good at anything as I am at avoiding. I can't read out loud right now. Thank you, Kristen, because I got distracted by a donation. I'll never be as good at anything as I am at ignoring incoming calls. Whoever makes the next donation to the Realtor Relief Foundation, I'm going to send you this card because you probably need about a dozen of these to send out. Tamika, you're getting my good card. Let me write Tamika Ross on here so I remember who I said that to. Tamika, I love you, girl. Thank you for making a donation to the Realtor Relief Fund. So anyway, send a card that somebody will care about. The other thing that we do is we like to send presents in the cards in the form of confetti, which a friend of mine, he's a commercial broker, I sent him one full of snowflakes to see if he would catch the joke, and some of y'all might catch it and some of y'all might not wouldn't. Hey Corey, thank you. So anyway, you could send something like, how about sympathy cards? I love to send these out. It says there's no good card for this, I'm so sorry. Y'all need to be a little more human in your real estate business. And by the way, I was cracking up this morning at 𝙏𝙀𝘼𝘾𝙃, who said that he was tired of people sending him a friend request with a logo as a profile picture. Same thing goes if your profile picture has your yard sign in it. That's just tacky. So somebody said I'm a new agent. How do I scroll through the comments? Is there a way to do that on here? I don't know how. And it's not showing me my comments on my page. Somebody said I'm a new agent. And then, oh, there we go. Maggie, how do I convince sellers I'm as good as agents who have sold many more listings? All right, so first of all, you do not need to convince anybody of anything. They're going to make a decision based on how they feel. That's the crazy thing about real estate is we're in sales, but it's crazy, super emotional. So they're not looking to be convinced as much as they're looking to believe. And that's kind of two different things. A lot of realtors get into sales mode of, oh, I'm number one, I'm awesome, woo! And they're just going to sell themselves in this really tacky kind of gross manner. If you go in the door and say, here's what I bring to the table, it's different than I'm number one. So what do you bring to the table, Maggie? What's your past history? Is it education? Is it waiting tables? Tell me something about what you did in your past life. Are you there? Answering to me? Answer me real quick, Maggie. Where's Maggie? Somebody tell me what you did in your past life, and I'll tell you how you can explain that to a seller in a way that matters, because your seller clients want to know that you're going to listen to them and that you're going to provide advice based on what they need, not what you need. Unfortunately, many realtors go into a listing appointment with what they need. And that's commission dollars, or it's a sold sign, or it's something. Ooh, a high-tech marketing executive. Girl, you got an easy pass store there. And Barbara did retail sales. Okay, so look, when you go in the door, you're not there to say, I'm number one, I'm going to negotiate and sell houses, social worker. Look at the backgrounds we come from, y'all. You're coming from all these different places in life that give something to the seller, okay? So Maggie, you were a high-tech marketing executive. That means you've got intimate knowledge of trends, right? You understand what technology has done to change how consumers react to things. This is not about the technology tool itself, which I was going to show you my phone, but of course I'm talking to it. And the consumer now reacts differently than they did 20 years ago. 20 years ago, people had a little bit longer attention span than they do now. And people all have technology, okay? So when you're talking about how you're going to bring this to them, explain to them, because I used to be a high-tech marketing executive, I know how consumers react to wait times. I, therefore, answer my phone in an average of 45 seconds. I'm sure that many other people need more time to answer their phone. I don't waste a second. So use your past experience to explain to them how it helps them. That's the number one thing my team explains to our seller clients is our advantage in the marketplace is answering the phone right away with a live human being. It's critical to your business. And unfortunately, most people would rather decline the call and call them back later. But be honest, y'all don't call anybody back later. You get busy and distracted. The other thing you could use as an advantage there, Maggie, is because you were a marketing executive, you could then tell them you'll lean into your marketing background to write descriptions about their property that reflect what consumers are looking for. If I see one more listing that says too many upgrades to mention, I'm probably going to go through my computer, because that's just sheer laziness, y'all. When you say something like that, or if you say it's got new carpet and new paint, well, yes, we want it to have new carpet and new paint, but maybe you could say it's got new neutral carpet and it's got new paint in the current colors. Give something more, because consumers expect more from us now. And so if you wonder why they go to websites for information, it's because frankly many of y'all suck and you're not giving them anything different than they're getting from any other website or any other realtor. So be something a little bit more. Maggie, thank you, Jeremy. What I'll tell you is that if you are a newer realtor, but you go into a listing appointment asking questions, so again, my intake sheets, which by the way, a question rolled through there of where can you get these? Go to my website, which is noflufftraining.com. And I guess I could put that in a comment. noflufftraining.com. You can download them as a DOC, the buyer sheets and the seller sheets. Look, there goes my comment right now. So anyway, I was talking about something, I forgot it. Oh, so Maggie, you're in this listing appointment. You're going to go through here and you're going to ask questions. You'll ask their contact information. You're going to ask them if the property address is the same as their mailing address. That's a critical question to ask, especially those of y'all that are in the affected areas. You're going to be talking to property sellers and aren't living in the property they're selling. So get comfortable with asking that question so you can provide the correct advice. And then you'll ask, how long have y'all owned your house? And why are you selling? Now, if they say I'm selling because I'm moving, they did not answer your question, all right? So a lot of realtors get really lazy here because you're so anxious to get a sign in the yard. You got to ask more questions. So why are you selling? Because we're moving to California. Now, if they're moving to California, do you have more questions to ask? Yes, you need to ask them, is it a job relocation? Is it a marital change? Is there something going on in life? And the reason you want to ask all these questions is that many realtors, okay, now I hate to broad brush my people. I love y'all, but I know how y'all behave. The thing is, you've got people that need you. They need you to ask the right questions and to listen. So if you are on this video and you personally have been through a divorce and it was not pretty, you know that somebody that's in the middle of a not pretty divorce has a specific set of needs when they have to sell their house. They probably got to shut up an attorney on both sides. They're angry at their spouse, and if they're not angry right now, they're fixing to be angry, then they need the house to go away. And as realtors, a lot of y'all walk in the door thinking that every seller wants top dollar for their property, and it's not the case, because sometimes the speed of sale is more important than the price that they get. So ask enough questions that you can answer those questions appropriately. And if you ask the questions before you get there, you can then customize your listing presentation to the seller. Instead of pulling the usual realtor crap, which is print off 5 comps, walk in the door, and try to fake it. That's why people hate you, because you're too busy trying to fake it instead of being a professional, asking lots and lots of questions before you get there. So now we're at $754. Come on, y'all, let's get over 1,000. If I've given you something you could use today, you need to do at least 10 or 15, 25 bucks, and it's all going directly to the Realtors Relief Foundation. All right. Catherine says she's at a point in her life where she's making a lot of changes. She's revamping her advertising and needs new clients. Do I have experience with mailers to new subdivisions? Catherine, it's a great idea to do mailers. Many realtors have quit doing it because they're cheap and they don't want to spend any money. And frankly, most realtors are not creative enough to send out anything that's going to make somebody call, because y'all keep putting out the same tired shtick that's been going out for 25 years. And so you need to change that. Oh, Andrea, you asked a question earlier, but it went away from my feed. So either ask me again or send it to me on Twitter. I'll run over and get it out of our direct messages, because I like to tweet with Andrea. So anyway, when you're thinking about whether you mail to a new subdivision, it's very important to go to your multiple list and pull up the neighborhood's history. Then look at the sold, active, and under contract properties and see who's selling them. If one realtor has more than 25% of the actives, pendings, and sold, y'all, she's got control of the neighborhood. It's not going to be a good use of your money. Now, granted, she might start to suck one day, but if you're looking to make inroads, you need a neighborhood that's not already controlled by somebody. So go in and check your records first. Then, before you start doing mailers, go drive the neighborhood. You can door knock if you want to. I personally would never door knock because I'm an introvert, and which makes y'all laugh, but that's why I like video better than in-person conversations, because it's one-sided. Go get to know the neighborhood. Understand the streets. Look at how the houses are kept. What does the developer do for retention ponds and pools and amenities and abandoned lots and all these other things. So, by the way, if you're just joining me, make sure that you are using that Donate Now button for the Realtor Relief Foundation, because I'm teaching this class right now, this Q&A session, because I'm not in Houston where I'm supposed to be today for an event because it got canceled thanks to Harvey. So remember that your money is 100% going into help in the community. So then once you get to know the neighborhood a little bit, you want to think about what the buyers and sellers in that neighborhood want, okay? So they don't want recipe cards. All right? They don't want that. They don't want your little flyer saying that you're number one. That doesn't mean anything to a consumer. They want to know what information you can provide. So my best flyers and postcards in neighborhoods revolve around sold properties, whether it's mine or something out of the multiple list. Now, you need to check with your neighborhood, your MLS rules, and make sure that you can do a flyer as long as you include the appropriate information. Thank you, Rick. Come on, y'all, get after it. South Carolina Realtors going on right now. That phone call distracted me. Thank you, Lisa. Come on, y'all. This money's going to your realtor family in Louisiana and Texas, because, y'all, they're out of business until this gets fixed. Anyway, yeah, thank you, Debbie. You want to make sure that you're picking the right neighborhoods and that you're providing information that your people would like to have. So if it's a neighborhood that's fighting about the pool not being done, maybe you need to talk to the HOA and provide some data on how pools improve a neighborhood's value. So think about what you can do that's proactively providing. Thank you, Liz and Jennifer. Y'all, we're close to 1,000. Come on now, let's get there. So that could be a pretty 4 digits there. And then, let's see, Andrea, you got to send me that question you asked before. I had another thing here from Carlene. And Catherine, I hope that answered a little bit for you. Carlene's, oh, by the way, Catherine, when you're looking for a service to do your mailings, check out Quantum Mail, Quantum Marketing, Quantum, Quantum. That's who I use. Thank you, Jess. When we have a property that has sold, I use Quantum to send the just sold mailings right around the house, so I can send it in a specific targeted area. Thank you, Jennifer. Y'all, come on, somebody, $21. Get me to 1,000. Yay, there it goes. Woo! Thank you, Kevin. Woo! Okay, so anyway, Carlene says, why are agents so lazy that they can't put pictures online that show the property, not just 5 pictures of the front of the house? Pay for professional photos. Carlene, I say amen and hallelujah. Oh, there's Lorraine and Dean one from church. Hey, Lorraine, thank you. Your donation's going directly to South Louisiana and South Texas. So in photos, y'all, what does it cost in your market? I know around here it costs roughly, thank you, Maggie, for the link, $100 per listing to do professional photos, unless it's a high-end custom property. It's embarrassing to me that any realtor on the face of the planet would not spend that money when you're being paid thousands of dollars in commissions. I'm going to call that what it is. And some of y'all say that you shouldn't have to put photos up for a crappy house. Well, for shame, you shouldn't take the listing if you think the house is that bad. We do professional photos on every listing. Thank you for the donations, y'all, for every listing, regardless of price point, because you know what? That $75,000 house is important to the person who owns it. And so when y'all get so uppity and snooty about not wanting to do listing photos for an inexpensive property, I say shame on you, because we are in a very honorable profession. And in our profession, if somebody calls you and says they want to entrust you with what's probably their largest financial instrument, you need to approach that with a sense of grace and honor and be glad that they called you. Don't be acting like some realtors do. And in fact, the people who want to take listing photos with their cell phones, there's nobody that's that good with a cell phone that you can make a house look professionally presented with it. Now, Carlene, I will say if it's a tenant-occupied property and they can't get access and all they've got are 5 exterior photos, then they should post what they have. But they should also make sure to include information in the listing that says it's tenant-occupied, we couldn't gain access. And that way the consumer that finds it online will know why there's only 5 photos, and the agent who pulls it up to show it to a potential client will say, oh, hold up, this might not be an owner-occupied purchase. Maybe I should call my investor clients. In fact, Jeremy, I'm glad to hear you saying, thank you, Virginia. See, that's my team putting money in the kitty, and Liz did earlier, too. So Jeremy makes the point that he's a great photographer, and he's a pro and has the right equipment and could do it himself. However, Jeremy and I had to come to Jesus meeting about this because I love to boss him around. He's in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, so he's close enough for me to boss him. The thing is, even if you're good at photos, you should be spending your time doing revenue-producing activities for your clients. And the thing is, photos are not revenue-producing activities. That's a marketing activity. You need to be in front of buyers, in front of sellers, and negotiating deals. If you're spending all your time in editing software on your computer, you are not doing what you should be doing for your seller, which is being on the phone with potential buyers. And if you don't have any potential buyers, why aren't you calling the other amazing realtors in your market saying, hey, I've got a really great listing. May I send you the information? We all get the email blast, but how much different would it be to get a phone call from that agent and they said, I really like you. And you know what? There's a good dozen agents that I do deals with for whatever reason over and over and over. And I love taking care of them because, frankly, I don't care how good you are. Thank you, Cynthia. You're not the only good realtor out there. And I would much prefer that the other great realtors sell my listings because I know that when they bring me an offer, it's going to be clean. It's going to be on the current paperwork, not the 2010 paperwork, which was the offer we got the other day. And it was really exhausting. Thank you, Mike. And I know that they're going to have good mortgage and cash buyer information. They're going to have good home inspectors and good surveyors, and they're going to have good attorneys. They're going to show up on time. Why aren't we taking better care of those colleagues, y'all? So take care of those colleagues, and then when you list something, call them. In fact, one of the smartest things I've seen done is Marty Hampton, who is a realtor up in Raleigh, North Carolina, a couple hours away. Marty started a mastermind group years ago of luxury agents in Raleigh, and what they do is share listings and ideas with each other. And for some of y'all, that sounds like the scariest thing you could ever think of is to share ideas in your local market. But what's happened is that they've all made each other better realtors. They've created better transactions for their sellers and buyers because they have access to information. So why don't you just take care of your clients so well that they're loyal to you no matter what, and then you don't have to worry about your competition. In fact, you can start taking care of your competition, and then they'll take better care of you. And so one of the things I've always done, which generally gets us a few laughs, is we keep a whole shelf of Calgon over here in the office. And y'all are old enough, some of y'all, and to remember Calgon, take me away. And if you're one of my millennials on here, go to YouTube and you'll see what I'm talking about. But what happens is that when we have a crap transaction, because it happens to all of us, we get the client who goes completely crazy and the other side pays the price and takes the brunt of it. When we get to the end, we send a box of Calgon to the paralegal or the other agent so that we can acknowledge that it was painful. And sometimes we need to do a better job of being really human with each other and saying, hey, I know that it was really rough and I'm a messenger for people, so here's a thank you from me. And by the way, on that note, in multiple offers, it's very, very important to take care of the agents who took the time to write an offer and then lost because they get very upset. Frankly, a lot of them have been writing offers over and over for their buyers. Maybe they don't know why they're losing. Thank them. They took the time to show your listing. They took the time to write an offer. We send a thank you note so that they know we got it and appreciate them very much. And then if the first buyer doesn't come to fruition, we could then call them and say, hey, you didn't get the first time, but it's coming back on market. We're then setting the stage for a much better transaction than if we were jerks and ignored them altogether. And you know, sometimes an email goes into spam and we don't catch it, and we do our best to take care of people, y'all. I'm not perfect, and we're trying to get better at it all the time, but we've got to take better care of each other, especially just in our realtor community, which is another reason I want y'all to donate right now to the Realtor Relief Foundation, because 100% of your dollars goes to Realtor Relief projects, and right now it's going to go to Texas and South Louisiana. And the overhead, by the way, is covered by our realtor dues. So this is even better than the Red Cross, because their money has to still pay for overhead, even though they're very efficient with their money. 100% of the dollars you're donating right now is going to help realtors and communities. And I think that we forget too that in these communities that are devastated, hey Christy, I miss y'all too. That's why I'm doing this, is just for my Houstonians, and also for Louisiana, because they're getting hammered right now, and Beaumont, and oh Lord, it just keeps carrying on. So anyway, make sure you're giving. Give. The realtors that you know are going to be out of inventory. They're going to be dealing with their own personal houses, plus client challenges, plus transactions that fell through. So help us take care of our own people right now, because you're all definitely self-employed people who aren't getting paid unless you sell something. So let's see. Stacy asks me, what's my thought on the best use of video? Girl, you know I love some video, and getting the videos more exposure, consumer targeted or agent targeted. Girl, I could talk about that for the next 4.5 days, but let me just start by this. I'm doing this video right now on my iPhone. So it's the tool I already have. So first of all, don't say that you don't have the right equipment for video, because you do, because I know all y'all have a phone because you selfie with it all the time. And then you also know this is on Facebook Live. Last time I checked, Facebook is a free tool. And Facebook loves their product here called Facebook Live. They love it so much that some of y'all didn't know I was going to do this until you saw it show up in your notifications that Leigh Brown was live, and you said, well, what the heck is she going to say today? So what you want to do is think about something you can talk about, okay? So with video, think about who your audience is going to be today. And maybe that's consumers. So let's do a consumer side question here first. What do you talk about with buyers all the time? Now, if I were a Houston area realtor, it wouldn't be today because they're still plucking people off rooftops. Thank you, Barb. See, look, there is Arizona Realtor staff given to Realtor Relief Foundation. So, y'all, your staff is looking out for us, too. Thank you, Barb. Come on, y'all, share this video. Make somebody make a donation. If you're learning something, 15, 25, $100. Come on. Tamika's already getting my good card here. In fact, let's give away another one. The next person who gives $100 is going to get my new favorite note card that I got. It says, first of all, you're really pretty. So whoever thinks they're really pretty, give $100 right now, and I'm going to send you that in the mail. So now I've got to watch and talk at the same time, which means I have to get rid of my realtor ADD for just a minute. So, okay, so our consumer videos. What would you say if you lived in Houston right now? I would make a video listing the things to do with your house. So the minute the water's out, yank up the carpets. Shannon in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm right, Shannon Bryan here, so I don't forget. And Shannon and Tamika are getting cards from me. I'll do another one here in a minute. Hey, Emma, what? Emmy. So, anyway, see, I have realtor ADD just like all the rest of y'all. Anyway, okay, so if I were in Houston, I'd make a video that talked about getting the rugs out of the house, taking every electronic out that's been close to water and tossing it because it, thank you, Diane, it could have corrosion in the cords, cutting the drywall, checking the insulation behind the drywall. You got to keep cutting it until you've gotten to the dry place. So I would be given that kind of immediate tips if I were a realtor in Houston, and I'd do it by video so that you can give people something to listen to. Some people absorb information visually, and that's why video is popular. Some absorb it orally, which is why we want to hear the spoken voice. And some people learn kinesthetically by touching and doing. And so you could even make a video of yourself in your house. Thank you, Lynette. I think of like Eileen. She has been showing some amazing pictures in her neighborhood. Eileen's going to have to go in her house and pull rugs out. So if Eileen did a video of herself, thank you, Kathy, yanking out her rugs and cutting her drywall, thank you, Andrea, you would see an entirely different response to that video because it's more than fluff, it's action and it's caring, okay? So that's the kind of consumer video you could do. So let's say you're not in Houston. Maybe you think about what people need to know in your community. School has gone back into session. Call your local public schools and ask what are their needs. Maybe if you've got a challenge school that doesn't have an active, involved PTA, They need some backpacks. They need socks. They need underwear. Y'all, elementary schools actually need a lot of underwear and socks for children who still have some challenges with remembering to go to the bathroom. And if they didn't bring a spare pair, the guidance office might run out. So could you make a video and say, hey, our local elementary school 123 is in need of socks and underwear. I'm going to be the collection point for that because I'm a realtor who loves selling houses around 123 elementary. So then you're actually getting the point across that you sell houses while you do something good in your community. That's why my hashtag is always more than houses. You've got to think about real estate in a more than houses mindset if you want people to watch your video and engage with it. If you're going to make a video and sit here and say, the list price to sales price ratio in my town is blah, 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 and days on market is blah, blah, blah. Because I've seen a lot of those realtor videos, y'all. It's dreadful. Makes me want to poke my eye out with a dull stick. Don't be the dull stick realtor. Be something valuable and interesting while you say, by the way, I also sell houses. Jeremy says that he's in a tourist town, which he is. And so what do tourists ask? He likes to show things in the area. Interviewing businesses. In fact, speaking of businesses, any restaurant that's in business for less than 30 days is the perfect target for a video. Thank you, John. Colorado stepping up. When you are in an area with a restaurant less than 30 days old, people are dying for reviews on it. Think about how your Facebook neighborhood groups tear up when there's a new Mexican restaurant or something. So talk about it. Go talk to the owner and say, hey, what's your best dish? What are you most proud of? What are your regulars going to order all the time? Ask questions that are different than what somebody else would ask, okay? Now, for an agent-pointed video, I generally do agent-pointed videos that, as y'all know, could help agents and could also help random consumers. So as an agent, you need to know how to tell your client to get out of the house in 10 minutes before a showing. Hey, Katie Lance joined here. Look, we got the social queen up on here. Katie, give me a big donation to Realtors Relief because you do so much out there for realtors. And thank you, Maureen, for donating. So anyway, when you're thinking about tips that you can provide to your clients, there are also tips you could help your agents with. So again, this goes back to making the other realtors in your marketplace better. If my agents know how I'm going to prepare a listing for the market, then my colleagues know that when they show it, what they're going to get is better. For example, close the toilet lids because you let the good chi out when the toilet lid's open. Now, that doesn't fly real well in the South because we don't talk about chi a whole lot. In fact, I wind up explaining chi more than I wind up explaining why you got to close your toilet lids. But I know that y'all Arizona and California people understand that very well. So think about what you can say to people that lets them know you know real estate and is helpful to them. Katie Lance, I knew you would step up, girl. Look at there. So y'all, we're over $2,000. Come on, let's keep going. I've got 10 more minutes before I close out this Facebook Live feed. Can y'all get me to $3,000 so that we can all dance on the table and be celebrating that we are helping our realtor family in Texas and Louisiana? So Barb Freestone, who is, again, staff at the Arizona Realtor, she asked a great question. Barb, I'm so glad you asked this, honey. She says, how do we shift the mindset, thank you, Rose, from I need to take CE to I want to take classes? All right, so first of all, I will have to tell you, we need better instructors in our industry. Now, there are some fantastic people out there instructing. Thank you, Jody. But some of y'all know there are some dreadful people out there teaching. Now, the reason they're teaching is because, frankly, the rest of y'all hadn't stepped it up. All right? You're going to have to learn how to speak. Shannon's asking, how did I break into public speaking? Well, I accidentally did it. I got asked to be on a panel some 6 years ago by Alan Haynes, who is a instructor from CRS who's now passed on to the great beyond. And he was wonderful, but he saw something in me I didn't see in myself. He felt like I was going to do a great job. So he put me on a panel and taught me not to be afraid of having a public voice. And frankly, then I found my video on my phone and it spiraled from there. So I try to tap shoulders. And those of y'all that have had me come aggravating you to tell you you've got to do more speaking and teaching, you've got to do the same thing for other people. We have to help other people learn how to do this. So you start by volunteering in your office. Be the one to lead the sales meeting, okay? And then share your top 3 tips that you've done in your business. And quit being scared of sharing, all right? Some of y'all are afraid to share because you think everybody's going to steal your ideas and you'll go out of business. And I'm going to tell y'all the instructor's secret. There's only 106 people on right now. Listen, thank you, Laura. Y'all, you're going to share everything you do. And realtors won't do it because they have ADD and they're lazy and they're distracted. So if 2 people do something you suggested, then that's okay. They're not going to tear your business apart. They're not all going to do it. So go on and share it. It just makes you a better person. And actually, when you do break through to somebody and you share something that changes their business and changes their life, it's a great feeling, a great feeling. So go tap shoulders, y'all. Start teaching in your offices. Then reach out to your local Women's Council chapter, your local CRS group, and say, hey, can I teach one of your lunch and learns? Let me make a presentation. They're going to say yes. We are always anxious for new voices, new ideas, people that are willing to share. And by the way, if you're the person who shares by saying, and here's an idea that I succeeded at, and here's something I tried that failed, you'll be our favorite person. Do not be the person who stands there and say, I'm awesome, I sell a zillion houses, and I have a team of 400, and I'm awesome. That's not sharing, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the really honest, amazing people. Thank you, Shar. Thank you, Rose. Come on, guys. We're so close to 3,000. Come on, you got 7 minutes. Get me to 3,000. Come on. So anyway, Barb, we need more instructors that are relevant in the marketplace. In fact, I'm very excited because in CRS, of course, I'm national president this year, we've had all these new classes to hit the marketplace. Thank you, Brenda. And we instituted a new policy for our instructors that they should have some production in the recent time here so that we know our instructors are in the trenches with y'all and they're providing relevant information, because I get it that some things about real estate don't change, but if the last time you sold a house was 30 years ago, it's hard for today's realtor to identify with you because you were in the era before we were getting texts at all hours of the night. So if you haven't checked out a CRS class lately, you should check one out. And if you're thinking of being an instructor, we're taking applications because we're building a pipeline of amazing people so that we can continue to teach and grow through providing instructor development workshops and providing new content to hit the marketplace all the time. And in fact, if you haven't checked out our webinars this year, the quality has gone, choop, it's great. And there's going to be 5 new webinars out September 11th through 15th during CRS week. They're free. I'm doing one of them. Woo! And you can fulfill your CRS maintenance requirement at that time, and you'll pick up something for your business. And so if you're one of those people with something to share, you should let me know, because we might be able to put you on a CRS webinar and you could then teach us something. So anyway, the other thing, Barb, is that once we have better instructors, we're going to have better content organically, which means we actually have to fight with our real estate commissions on every state level. Thank you, Beth. So that we can get CE approval for classes like mine. It's hard for my classes to get CE approval in most states because I'm talking about getting realtors better. Now, I think that makes the consumer a better experience when they have a better realtor, but the real estate commissions want all our CE classes to be consumer protection, which is very hard to survive during. And it's also why people like Brian Copeland are now starting to teach Code of Ethics classes so that they'll be engaging and relevant. So if you were an amazing, relevant person, stretch a little bit. He's challenging me to go teach Code of Ethics classes, and so I'm going to look into it and see if I can't reach a different group of agents that way. Now I'm seeing more questions coming through. Oh, Kristen, I love your question here, girl. How do we get more to act on call to action? I don't know. I don't know why y'all are so lazy. You can't pick up your cell phone and hit click, 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 and you're done to contact your legislators. But if you're not doing call to action yet, go to your text and do 30644, put in Realtors, and you'll get signed up for the call to action. We've got a big one out right now that we really need you on, and it's so important for all of our realtors to stand shoulder to shoulder and tell our legislators what our voice is talking about. Because when we are asking you to do something from the realtor side, it's not partisan stuff. This is what protects property rights and protects homeowners and property owners and investors across the board. Y'all, we are $161 away from my target and 4 minutes to go. So if those of y'all that are on here, I got 104 viewers who haven't maybe done something, do $10, y'all, real quick, and we'll crush out my goal. So $10, your 100% goes to the Realtor Relief Foundation. There's no overhead being paid by your money. Your money goes direct to these communities that are being hard hit by Harvey. That's South Texas and Louisiana. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Michelle and Shannon, for what you're doing to give. Jody donated. Jody, you rock. Let's see if we have any other questions that have come through here. Can I put the number back up for the call to action? Jessica, you're singing me a question right here. Look. Go to 30644 on your cell phone, and your message is Realtors, all right? Send that in. It's going to sign you up, and then you're going to click, click to do the call to action. It doesn't take anything. Oh, Shannon, are you really doing Major Investor? That's a new one in Raleigh. I'm so proud. Oh, I'm so proud. Okay, so anyway, Mandy asked a question. Have a listing appointment today. Thank you, Heather. And it's already been on the market with 2 other agents. What can I do to market it as new? So number 1, Mandy, is thank you, 𝘾𝙀𝘼𝘾𝙃. Look, there's Washington, D.C. stepping up. 𝘾𝙀𝙼 is the key, and he's got these nice monogrammed cuffs, which I'm always very fascinated by. So, Mandy, the first thing you got to do is make sure the price is correct on that house. If it's been on the market with 2 other agents, something's wrong, all right? It's either too high or the condition is not correct. And generally, I like to say it this way. Kelly and Carolyn, thank you. Y'all are getting us so close. Y'all, come on, $41 while I give the script to Mandy here. Look, when a house hasn't sold, it is because, not yet, the price is not correct for the condition it's in. So if, according to the comps, the price is right, but it hasn't sold, the condition may not be just up enough. Brian, I knew you would do it. Get us over the mark. Look at y'all, over $3,000. Yay. So the condition may need to be jacked a little bit. The price may need to come down because the market is speaking when you've had 2 different agents. Now, the only time that wouldn't have changed anything is if the sellers are refusing to allow showings. Thank you, 𝙒𝙊𝘼𝙆𝙆. I don't know how to say your name, but it's very beautiful. I'm just going to call you the star. And so when you look at the house as its price related to condition, if it's been on the market and it hasn't sold, it's because the buyers don't see the value for that price. Now, if the sellers refuse showings, or if there was a showing and the toilet hadn't been flushed and there's a naked teenager on the couch and food in the sink and the TV on, it's probably not going to sell because that makes it hard for a buyer to see the house for what it is. Thank you, Tracy. Look, East Coast, West Coast in the middle. Come on, y'all. Jack up this number here before we go offline. So you've got to let them see the comps, but also let them see all the photos for their competitors. They're going to need professional photos. If it hasn't had professional photos, then that's a great way you can differentiate the property from its past look. Never reuse another agent's photos. You don't have that copyright protection. Always invest in your own photos. I'm sure that you were going to anyway, but I see agents stealing people's photos, and y'all, that's just tacky. Plus, they're probably not that good. So get some different angles of the house. Maybe do a drone photo for your front shot so that it looks more interesting. Then you're going to have to rewrite that marketing description to what buyers ask for in your marketplace. Ask them for their past showings. Ask them for the feedback and see what insight you can glean from that. But I'll tell you one thing I found on marketing. All right, I'm giving you a good example. Something's wrong with the house when it hasn't sold with 2 agents. Okay, let's just call it what it is. It's either the seller's fault or the market's fault, but the price is too high for the condition it's in, or something's going on. So I had this listing in my neighborhood, and some of y'all have heard this story. And the house sat on a lot like this. Now, I drive a Yukon. My Yukon bottomed out coming out of that driveway. It was pretty steep. And it had been on the market previously for about 8 months and had God knows how many showings. I mean, everybody had been through it because according to the comps, it was priced correctly for the condition it was in. So anyway, they called and they're kind of frustrated because it's sitting there vacant, and it had been vacant for so long that when I opened the front door, there were dead roly-polies all up in the front. And I don't know why roly-polies go in vacant houses. And y'all noticed that too? And it was cobweb on the lockbox and all and such. And I called the seller, and she said, why hasn't it sold? And I said, well, you tell me why you think it hadn't sold. And she said, well, I think it needs this update and that update. And I said, well, it could. I said, however, I don't think that's it. And she listed something else and something else. And I said, I don't think that's it either. What do you think it is? Because I wanted her to say it out loud. She knew. She said, well, maybe doesn't everybody want to be on the side of the hill? I said, I think you're probably right. I said, but do tell me this. Why did you buy a house sitting up on this steep of a lot? Because y'all, your sellers bought these houses, and we often forget that we could get great information just by asking more questions and listening. And she said, well, we love the privacy sitting up that high. Nobody can see in our house. And I said, that makes sense. And then she said, we have great drainage. Our yard has never had water standing in it. And I said, well, I bet it has not, because if water stands in that yard, we all underwater. And so I took that and we rewrote the listing description on the house. Didn't change the price. We did our all new professional photos where we had to actually I stood on top of the car with the photographer to get the photos so that it would look more leveled out. That works sometimes. And this was actually before the advent of the drones with the FAA rules. Come on, y'all, last minute. Come on, throw me something in Realtor Relief while I give her this answer. And so when I wrote the information for the listing, we said the house sits up on the side of a hill, however, has great privacy. It had 2 showings and it sold that first day after being on the market for 8 months. And the buyer bought it because they wanted a house that had great privacy and they didn't care about the driveway. So if you think about what the house has that might be, thank you, Erica, has perceived as a challenge, find out why it wasn't a challenge for that seller and make that your story for the buyer. I had another listing that we actually used video to get it sold because it was at the edge of a neighborhood that's in the process of revitalization, regentrification, whatever you want to call it. And so it was a very challenging neighborhood where it was crack house, fixed up, old person, fixed up, and just a broad mix of conditions of houses. Well, this house was right at the edge, historic home. And so if you looked out the door one way, you saw this neighborhood in flux, but you can generally see the flux is going to be all right. If you looked the other way, you saw some interesting people walking down the street to the strip club that's right nearby. And so we made a video and talked about the neighborhood and how cool it was and gritty and changing in the urban area, and showed some of the shops, tattoo parlors, the brewery, the restaurants, because that's a really cool vibe. It's not for everybody, but you want, thank you, Brad Emmon. Look, Brad Emmon gave some money to Realtor Relief. Nice job. So we're thinking about how we can talk about the neighborhood in a way that appeals to the buyer. And that house, y'all, had been on the market with 8 realtors for 4 years. That's a long damn time for anybody to try and sell a house. And so when we got to the closing table, I asked the agent and the buyer, and I said, why did you buy this house? Because I'm always interested, because it had, frankly, it was built in the 20s, but had been updated in the 80s. So it was kind of like walking into a video for 𝙏𝙀𝘼𝘾 or Twisted Sister or something. So anyway, we were in there, and he said he bought it because he loved the neighborhood, and he wasn't going to look at this house until he saw the video and realized that the neighborhood fit who he was. So he was then willing to take the risk with the house being at the edge. And so video can tell a story, so maybe you use that to reposition the house and talk about the surrounding area. It's not about bedrooms and bathrooms and square footage, y'all. Your houses, you're talking about their story. That's what real estate is about, is understanding the seller story and the buyer story and the house's story and bringing that all together. And the last question I will take here, as we're over by 4 minutes, but we're over $3,000, so y'all going to have a couple extra minutes. And if you want a couple more, toss some more money into the Realtor Relief Fund, and I'll keep talking as long as I see that donation button keep getting hit. Marlene says, first thing I would teach to a new agent in my brokerage after ethics. All right, so first of all, on the ethics piece, if y'all didn't know, read Standard of Practice 1.3 again. Now, a lot of y'all have read the Code of Ethics in the past, but you don't know it unless you need it. So go look at Standard of Practice 1.3, and what it says is that no agent will knowingly mislead a seller as to the price of a property. If you will use that in your listing presentation before you get to pricing, let them know that you're not going to mislead them, because frankly, it would be a violation of the Code of Ethics if you did. You will have a better response to the real facts you're about to hand out. Many realtors don't understand pricing, and so they're making it up. So once you get to know the Code of Ethics, you got to understand pricing. And I really think that's a gap in our industry right now, Marlene. Many people seem to think you price a property per square foot. Let me tell y'all right now, and I'm going to shake my finger at you, you do not price a property per square foot. Maybe Zillow does, but they are a website, and y'all all like to say how you're better than them. Well, then you're going to have to, by God, learn how to price a property again. I don't know how y'all got so damn lazy. Look, that new agent needs to sit in somebody's hip pocket and get a mentor and learn. I really don't understand how anybody survives in real estate without a mentor. When I got into business 17 years ago, I got in with my daddy. He wouldn't let me touch a client unless I knew what I was doing. So for 90 days, I lived in his hip pocket. I went on buyer appointments and seller appointments, and I learned it before I ever got near touching a client's largest financial instrument, because my daddy believed very strongly that the education being provided is not enough to properly handle a consumer. So that new agent better have a mentor, and the mentor better be somebody who's willing to be open and transparent and share exactly how to do it. Now, if you want to know why you don't, thank you, Sarah, you don't price a property per square, let me just tell you, if you have 2,000 square foot condos and one of them's got Susie Q Homemaker in it and it's clean as a pin, and one has 18 frat boys living in it, same floor plan, same bedroom, same bathroom, same building, put them next to each other, got the same view. Which one sells for more? It's going to be Susie Q Clean's property and not the frat boy property, because I love frat boys, but y'all know they don't keep a property clean. That's why you don't price per square foot. Per square can't account for upgrades or condition. Stop it. Just stop it, stop it, stop it. You have to make adjustments. You adjust for view and for condition and for location and for upgrades. And what you need to do is find out, how much does the screen porch bring in your market? How much do you get for a 2-car garage? How much do you get for hardwood floors? And if you don't know that adjustment number, you need to call an appraiser and go have lunch with them and ask questions, because as realtors, we need to do a better job of talking to our appraiser colleagues, because they are the ones that are going to say yes or no when it comes time for that contract to go through. So my favorite appraiser is William Bryant. I love that man. He is fantastic. And he answers questions when we have them. And in fact, our best sales meeting every year, we have William come in and we just pepper him with questions. How much do we get for this? How much do we adjust for that? What are the Fannie Mae guidelines regarding square footage, so that we can intelligently price a property? I think most realtors need that really bad right now. And especially those that you're newer. If you're newer and you've got this information, you can smoke some 20-year agent who's been too damn lazy to get themselves educated, or they haven't updated themselves on the market. So I would suggest that you make that phone call right now. Those of y'all that have no inventory and nothing to sell, or maybe you're in the summer doldrums where class has started. Hey, Shannon, I miss you, girl. I'm sorry I can't be with y'all today, but you can share this video out with all the WCR, CRS people, and we'll be back. We'll reschedule it. It'll be all right. Houston's strong, and we're looking after y'all. But anyway, go call an appraiser right now and go take them to lunch and thank them, first of all, for doing their paperwork heavy, nasty job. I couldn't be an appraiser. I don't have the patience for it. But ask intelligent questions and quit acting like you know everything. You people do not know everything. So let's see. Did I already give you the call to action thing one more time? Look. 30644 on your cell phone, put Realtors as your comment, and then finish your call to action, y'all. We desperately need y'all to do that right now. And I'm going to check for questions one more time. If y'all give me another $193, I'll stay on for 10 more minutes. But y'all got to give some more money to Realtor Relief to keep me on here. Hey, Christopher, I love you and that baby girl too. Let's see, price per square. That's another comment of amen on that. Does anybody have a question for me? I don't see any more questions on here because my video, for some reason, is hiding. I think it's not showing me my comments because I got the donate now button on there. Oh, Christy says there is a Facebook page for Houston Realtors. So click through on what Christy Borden is saying there in Houston if you want to do what you can to help our friends in Texas, what you can do to help. Let me look around and see if I can give y'all one more tip for life. Let's see. Oh, I finally found my comments. There's some, let's see. I talked about video a little bit. Okay, I guess the last thing I'll do here is the smartest thing I've done for my business this year. Oh, the smartest thing I've done for my business this year was turn it off for a month. Those of y'all that didn't know, my son had major surgery on July 6th, and so I was pretty much out of commission for a month. And hey, Rick, thank you. You donated twice. You are extra credit for you. Look, he gave $10 more to keep me talking. That's nice. Rest of y'all, come on, $10, $15, $25. Come on, get after it. But I took a month off to be with him in recovery, and my good clients stuck with me, and we worked together, and the people who didn't want to work with me during that time, they went somewhere else. In fact, I found out about one listing that I lost because they wanted me to be more available. I don't care. My son's 11. Thank you, Cody. I'm not going to give up his health for a transaction. And it blows my ever-loving mind how many realtors will put their marriages on the back burner. You're putting your kids on the back burner. You're putting your own health on the back burner. And if you want to know something, that I run a lot. Now, I'm not posting my runs all the time right now because I changed to a Garmin, which is now bossing me around with steps instead of just posting my Endomando. But I ran 130 miles in August. And that's a lot. But frankly, I run to clear my mind. And those of y'all that won't look after yourselves, don't you ever tell me you don't have time. That is the biggest crock of crap I've ever seen. Those of y'all that are out of shape and something hurts your hip, your ankle, your knee, I don't care what it is. You could still walk. You could swim. You could probably sit at your desk with some little 5-pound weights and do something with your arms. Thank you for donating. Come on, y'all. You're giving yourselves excuses. And you only have one life. You only have one health picture here. And I'll tell you, when I sat there staring at my son in ICU for a week, you realize that you can make all the money in the world, but money will never fix health. So I will not stop running as long as my body is able to do it. I will not stop doing anything else while I can do it, because I still have my son, and I've got friends that have lost their loved ones. They don't get to have them back. Y'all, these transactions, not nearly as important as your family and your loved ones. And I couldn't say enough about the community that rallied around me while my son was sick. And they'll take care of my real estate business over time. They know who I am as a person. And if there's any one thing realtors have to do better at, it's letting your humanity shine through. You're not perfect. You're also not a machine. You've got to let people know, and they'll take care of you. Good people are out there. And by the way, if you're a believer like me, and you love Jesus, and you know Jesus loves you, you better not hide that either, because the world needs more of his kind of selfless love reaching out to the edges than it ever has before. Oh, so Maggie was asking, how do you ask buyers to not work with multiple buyer's agents they find online, only work with me? Maggie, the first thing you got to do is let them know why they should work with you. So I love telling people that I get my jollies. Thank you, Delilah. Is that Delilah or Delilah? I don't know how to say your name, but Ms. Hartz, you're wonderful. So when you're thinking about how you get buyers to work with you, be transparent about your life. Tell them who you are. Why do you do real estate? And if you tell me you do real estate for the money and for the flexible hours, that's lies. You don't, because your hours are so flexible. You work in all of them, and the money's never enough when you're in a tough transaction. You have to be dialed in to other people's best interest regarding their largest financial instrument. So you want to make sure that you tell them why you do it. I tell people I do real estate because I love helping home buyers and sellers navigate the minefield of a transaction. And they might get blown up, and I might get blown up, but pieces of us will get across the finish line together. And then they ask me, well, wait a minute, what does that mean I might get blown up? Well, things are going to go wrong. The inspection might have termites and rotted wood and fungal growth. And then the appraisal might miss, and the survey might find that the whole street laid their fences wrong when they all tacked onto each other. And I swear to God, there's a neighborhood around the corner here where, you know how neighbors like to tack on to a fence to save having to do their own fence line? Well, the first guy did it wrong, and they all tacked on. The whole street encroaches on somebody else's property. So those are the minefield items that we might step on in the course of a transaction. And so you need one agent with you during that whole process so that I can answer questions for you as we go. If you call 1,000 different agents, you don't know who they're looking out for, you or the seller or their pocketbook. I'm going to look out for you. And Maggie, once you're better able to explain to them what you provide, they're more likely to stay loyal to you. You also have to answer your phone. If you're that realtor who wants to screen all your calls and you wonder why people don't talk to you, it's because you're not talking to them. So pick up your phone. And by the way, if you said, I'll call you back, you better call somebody back. Y'all are the most forgetful human beings on the planet. So use your little phone and set a little Google task reminder to call them back. Y'all, we're at $3,413. I got 89 viewers, and some of y'all are holding back for some special pearl of wisdom. The pearl of wisdom I'll give you is that if you make a donation right now, 100% is going to the Realtor Relief Foundation, which will help people in Texas and Louisiana right now affected by Harvey. So come on, $10, $15, $25. I know you were going to Target later to buy some crap. This means just don't go over to the section where you are the most susceptible to buy things you shouldn't be buying. Come on, donate. Come on. Oh, and thank y'all who shared the video. Let's see if there was any other question we needed to ask here. Agents that are a hot mess, what's one thing you can do right now? All right, so first thing I'll tell you is, thank you, Debbie, when you run into an agent who's a hot mess, why don't you ask them if you can help them? Ask them if there's, thank you, Andrea, something you could do for them. Ask them, could you cover their phones for 2 hours so they could take a day off? Could you share Leigh Brown's intake sheets with them? And Leigh Brown says, yes, give them that link, because I'm telling you something. The agents that are a hot mess often haven't had any guidance. They've got a broker who's strung out, or maybe doesn't do good training, or maybe they're just lost and they don't know who to ask. They don't have a mentor. You could maybe change the course of their career. Thank you, Rose. You could change the course of the clients who they're touching if you just ask them how you can help. And I'm learning how to do this because I'm a judging person. I am an INTJ. That's my Myers-Briggs thing. I'm big on the J, though. I'm big on judging because people are stupid. Liz, the link to my intake sheets is in that comment thread in there deep, but it's noflufftraining.com. Pull it down for free. Y'all, you just got to reach out to people a little bit more. And maybe they suck, okay? So you say, how can I help? And they say, you can't. And well, that's fine. You've now tried,
but you might be surprised. I'll never forget, there was a realtor. After I had my daughter in 2004, I had gone to Target and I was in the middle of breastfeeding. And now, y'all, the men on here, don't be all squeamish. This is just how life goes. And it was a rough day because she was only like 8 weeks old. I felt like I had accomplished something just getting out of the house. And I was in the checkout line, and thank you, Dan, the cashier asked me a question, and Lord knows I just turned into a puddle and I started crying, and Cora started crying. She's in the little clip-in seat in the cart. And a woman walked over, and I wish I could remember her name. I've already forgotten it because I have baby brain still 13 years later. And she was a new home rep from a neighborhood not far away. She swooped in, and she picked Cora up and calmed her down. And then she hugged me. Oh, she hugged me. And she told me it was going to be all right. I didn't know she was a new home agent at the time, but she knew who I was. And so she saved me right there by swooping in when I was at a low point. What could happen in our realtor community if we swooped in and helped each other in a low point? Like right this second, you could do that by donating to Realtor Relief Foundation right here, because that money is going to help people that are going to be digging out from this for years to come. So come on, $10, $15, $25 right now. Help me raise some more money, because I'm going to keep talking as long as y'all keep giving me money. Let's see what other question I have here, because I'm about to get choked up remembering that woman. I wish I could remember her name because I could see her face right now. Sylvia's asking questions about starting a team. All right, so the first thing I want to tell you is this. Before you start a team, do you have any kind of a foundation in place? Because many realtors are starting a team. Oh, that was a good donation, Amber. In fact, I think it's time for me to give another card away to the next $100 donation. You're going to get a card that says, "You're my BFF IRL." And I don't even know who my BFF IRL is until, oh, it's Tammy Huck. Tammy, you did $50. All right, Tammy's going to get a card. So I'm going to give away another card in just a second. I better write Tammy's name down before she comes off my screen. And Tammy, you might have to message me your address, which actually reminds me of something y'all could all do better on the social media. When I thank you, Eileen. Look, Eileen's in Houston and donating to the Relief Fund. I'm going to cry here in a second. Love you, woman. Listen, y'all. On your About page on Facebook, would y'all please unlock your addresses? I went to send a card to a girlfriend of mine this morning. I'm actually going to call her out, Kenzie Leigh. She's a RE/MAX broker in Fort Myers, Florida. Y'all, Kenzie's been on the kidney transplant list, and she got her kidney. She's in surgery right now, so say a prayer for Kenzie right now that the kidney takes. She's only 38 years old, just a baby, and her kidneys were in failure, so she's having a kidney transplant today. So I went to send her a card because I was so excited to see she's getting a kidney, but her zip code wasn't on her business page. So make sure that your contact information's on there. Anyway, what was I talking about? I was answering a question about teams. Okay, so anyway, those of y'all with your teams, when you are not organized, adding a team member is kind of like putting a second story on a single wide that's sitting up on underpinnings. If you do not have a foundation first, you do not add a second story, okay? So adding a team member, you don't add buyer's agents right away. You don't start adding bodies to your team until you have a foundation in place. Thank you, Andrea. So you want to make sure that you have a system. So you have intake sheets, all right? So I'm going to give y'all step one. And then you're going to know how you process your business. How do you take care of price adjustments on a listing? What do you do when a listing lead comes in? How do you handle buyers once they're under contract? All those checklists that generally for realtors live up here need to be on paper. So you should have all those checklists on paper. Thank you, Jasmine. Come on, the rest of y'all get after it. Come on, we're so close. Christy Board, look, another Houston realtor given to the Realtor Relief Fund. Y'all, come on. Our Houston people need us right now. And y'all, come on, $10, $15, $25. Everybody in here, give me something. I feel like I'm Jerry Lewis on the, what did he do? I can't remember which auction online thing he used to do. It wasn't the Shriners. That was March of Dimes? No, it wasn't March of Dimes. Somebody will remind me later. On PBS, my mom used to make us watch the telethon. Anyway, so once you get your foundation in place, you're going to hire an administrative person. Now, a lot of y'all, thank you, Maggie. It was MS. I knew it was something. So when you are thinking about adding team members, you better have administrative pieces in place first. When you add buyers agents and listing agents to a realtor team, you're adding more disorganized people to your disorganized world, because our people are not an organized people. So you need an administrative person who can handle these details and tidbits. So hire that person first, then you start hiring agents. Most of y'all shouldn't run a team, all right? Most of you are not managers of people. You suck at that. That's why you're in real estate. You're entrepreneurial. You love people. You love the relationships. You love connecting. You're terrible at HR. You're terrible at writing job descriptions. So some of y'all should probably just partner up If you do that, though, put something in writing that has all of your agreements for who does what and who handles things, and get a copy of that into your broker's hands. As a broker, I need to know who you're partnered with and what the agreement is, because y'all are going to have a fight at some point before you come down to fisticuffs and do a 𝙑𝙀𝘼𝘾𝙃𝙊𝙄𝘾 duel out in the parking lot. I need to know what exactly was going on. So that's my advice on starting a team. My viewers are starting to fall, which means y'all are ready to get to lunch in business. I love y'all very much. Before I get off, we're $112 away from $4,000. Will somebody do $112 and you'll get a card? Let me find you. Oh, I'm going to give you my favorite postcard that I haven't sent to anybody yet. It says, "You would be nice even if you were a cat, and cats are a-holes." So whoever wants this card, I'm $112 away from $4,000. Who wants this card? I feel like I am auctioning it off, but really it's just a present. So I'll give that postcard away if somebody will hit that donate now button. And then, let's see, I've got another one that if you needed to be lifted up today, somebody gave a donation, but it's not, let's see, it's Delilah. See, y'all give me more names I can't read. I have my glasses on. Delilah or Delilah, I can't say it. So Delilah, send me your address in my messages so I'll have it. You're getting the cat card. Somebody else that needed to have a compliment paid, I'm going to tell you, you have nice buns. So whoever has nice buns, make a donation. Right now, I need $62 to hit $4,000, and you will get a card. Tamika, I don't know where I bought them, honey. I just like to go in postcard stores and stationery stores. In fact, I was in a cool one in Naperville, Illinois when I was in Chicago earlier, and it was this really amazing store in there downtown, and I could have gone broke in there, honestly. I got a bunch of stuff. And so who wants nice buns? Let's see. I just need another donation. You can get the nice buns card. And I'm waiting on somebody that thinks they need a compliment. Nobody has nice buns. I guess y'all need to get out and run and walk some more, then do some squats. Weighted squats will help you with those sagging buns. Or maybe you want my soup card. Oh, Jessica. Jessica wants to be told she has nice buns. Jessica, God, see, let's see. You write that down before I forget with my Realtor ADD here. And the last card, I'm going to give her over $4,000, but I was fixing to give it away anyway. Who wants to get "You're So Hot, Even Soup Be Like Damn"? Who wants to get this fun postcard with tomato soup with a face on it? Denise Morrow. I see how fast y'all wanted to get the tomato soup card. And that's going to go to Denise. Thank you for your recent donation to the Realtor Relief Fund. Y'all, look what y'all did. We did some discussion about real estate, over $4,000 to the Realtor Relief Fund. I love you, Texas. I'm a Texas realtor, too. And anything you can do to share this video, make somebody better. If y'all want me to do this again sometime, give me a like or a love, and maybe I'll do it once in a while. Take care of y'all. But in the meantime, take care of each other, and remember exactly how honorable it is to be in this profession.